What's up, guys? What's up, everyone? And welcome to another episode. Let's talk with Rodney. And today we are focusing on mental health. You know, 'cause a lot of people need help with mental issues, and we have professional in the house. We have Dr. Peters in the house. Dr. Peters, how just tell the people what you do and just highlight yourself so just let the world what you're good at.
Well, I'm actually Cortina Peters, aka the girlfriend therapist, and I am a licensed mental health counselor, a international life coach, a motivational strategist, published author, and qualified supervisor. So those are some of the things that I do. It's my passion to be able to inspire and motivate individuals to win in every area of their life. So I get to wake up every day and do something that I absolutely feel like I have been called to do.
So why be a therapist, if you don't mind me asking? What made you in your life, or what happened? You be like, I want to help people.
Well, I went through a lot of things growing up, and I've always been an empath. I've always felt on a very deep level, and I don't know if that has to do because my zodiac sign is a Cancer, and we're very intuitive, but I just have a passion and a heart to see people win and to see people excel. And because I was able to get through some of the darkest days and toughest situations that I've ever had to face, I felt like I had the ability, the compassion, and the heart to be able to help others along the way on their journey.
That's deep. So are you sensitive? Cancers are really sensitive people.
Yes, I would say I am very I'm sensitive. I am not sensitive to the point where I'm like in my room crying all the time, but I feel very deeply.
You do?
I do.
That's really cool. That's really cool. So let me ask you this, because I really want to dive real deep into this. Like I said, mental health illness actually runs in my family. And, sometimes I feel like I have bipolar moves. And when I'm happy one moment, I'll be like, what the heck going on? Like, you just feel iffy inside. You know what I mean? So when you work with Black families, what is the number one issue that you see?
That covers a myriad of things. Misunderstanding. I think generational gaps from the way that maybe parents were raised to the way that children and teens are today might be the biggest thing, because parents saying what worked for them is not necessarily working for their own children. So really trying to find a way to bridge the gap and connect the generations so that each can understand. And being open to even coming to therapy. That would probably be the biggest thing. When children are saying, or not because I don't work with children, but when teens are saying, I want to talk to somebody, or even young adults, I want to talk to somebody, and their family members criticizing them, saying, oh, that's something white people do. We don't do that. We keep all our business in the house. All we do is pray about it. I think that would be the biggest thing. That's a challenge, which is allowing other parents, grandparents, aunts, and uncles see it as something positive and not something negative.
Let me tell you this. So, because we are, Black people as a race, we are very religious. And we always like say, you just go to God in prayer. And like I tell people, this is what I believe. If God can work through people, just like you have doctors for like your body, you have doctors for your mind. And I feel like we don't understand that, because we always pray about it. And the thing you can be praying about, your therapist could be that solution if you only give it a try.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. Because I tell people, I say, you can have God and a therapist. it's almost like when we take our issues to church, we're taking it to the pastor, right? Because God has been able to bless the pastor with the ability to speak into your life as it comes from God. If God can bless a pastor to be able to lead you and speak to you, why can't he bless a therapist to be able to help you through your emotional issues? So a lot of times people like to see it as two separate things, like either or, black or white, when you can have and, not or. It's together. You can have both.
You can join the two. So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So is it harder for a very Christian, like I'm a Christian saved person to come through the therapy, or a verse person who don't believe in God at all? You find either or difficult outweigh the other?
No, I've seen it all. I've seen people who don't even believe in anything, and I've seen like an overly uh religious, I'm not going to say spiritual, but I'm going to say a religious person who has a lot of barriers because they're tied to their religion.
Mm.
Is not necessarily their spiritual, their spiritual side. So they're a slave to the rules and the guidelines of what their religion says versus really listening to their heart about what does God say and how does he speak to their heart. So breaking down those barriers and getting them to a place where they don't feel like they're challenging their religious beliefs, but where it complements the growth that is taking place in their life.
You know what? So my brother is I want to say schizophrenic.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and a lot going on. So I guess for me, I'm gonna get real personal right now. I guess for me, growing up, my brother, I feel like it wasn't really noticeable until he went to the military and came back home after the Iraq war under President Bush. And I don't know what he saw over there. We came back, it's just like it clicked. Is that normal for something to happen? Can like mental illness be hidden until something
the right or wrong situation and environment, because they're already genetically predisposed to this particular disorder? Yes, it may be the activating event that kind of flips the switch. So yes, that is possible.
And is it really true? Because can mental illness, can they be passed down from generation to generation? Is that something?
Absolutely.
And how is that? Explain that, because I really always was intrigued by.
It's genetics. It's genes. So it's almost the same like when we're talking about addiction. If you have parents that have issues with substance issues, the likelihood that you are genetically predisposed to have the same issue increases significantly, almost like with heart disease and diabetes. So we have to look at mental illness the same as we do with other illnesses, because I like to go by the medical model. So the medical models does say that there are certain things. Now you can't stop it, and so you can't do that. But there are certain things that, regardless of what you try to do, because like I said, you may be already genetically predisposed, that it may rear its head at some point in your life. So some people who know that they are already genetically predisposed because their parents, let's just say, were both alcoholics or had challenges with alcoholism, they would probably say, you know what, I already know that's the issue, so I'm not even going to drink, because I don't know what my limit is. I don't know at what point will it become an issue for me, because that's something that runs in my family.
You know what? My mom will kill me, but I mean, she's been delivered from it. She used to have a very bad gambling problem, right?
Okay.
And growing up, it was a lot, right? And so you know how you see your parents go through, so you be like, I'm never gonna be that person. I'm able to go, I'll like smoke this one cigarette or stop. I'll be able to like go to the casino and stop. Let me tell you, when I went to casino and I won like my first $500, I saw myself like doing the same patterns that my mother was doing. I'm just like, I'm getting just like Diane. And I had to really wean myself off of going to the casino. And now when I go, it's like probably once or twice a year, and I would bring a certain amount of money and don't spend it. So
Right.
it really like opened my mind when you was like, it can be, if you see it and it's an addiction, it can happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm not saying it's only genetics, because there are some people that may suffer from other addictions and no one in their family necessarily has that same issue.
Mm,
It's not one end all be all, but
mm.
the likelihood of your chances increasing is related and linked to, look at your history, look at your lineage, look at some of the things that affected the individuals in your family that came before you.
You know what? I'm glad you said something about lineage. So how do you think it's important for each family to have like a mental, I guess, I'm trying to look for some word, like their mental health awareness, like background before they like want to join? Do you recommend that?
So I would tell anyone, I wouldn't say penalize or be like, oh no, you have mental health issues in your family, I'm not going to get with you. But I think it's good to know who you're having children from. I think it's
Mm,
good to know something of what you're getting involved in, so that you can equip yourself with the ability to have the knowledge that you need, just in case this issue arises. You have already done your research and it's not hitting you like a ton of bricks. So I think it is important to ask individuals, have you ever been Baker acted? Like, what's your emotional wellness track? I would say, when sometimes we ask people, when was the last time you were tested? If I'm getting ready to, become intimate with you, I think those are the hard conversations that
mm.
need to be had. It would be easier if there wasn't such a stigma related to mental health. People would probably be more open and willing to have that conversation, versus me trying to hide it because I feel like people are going to judge me.
Now let me ask you this: do you think it's wrong if somebody does hide like their family has like schizophrenia? It brings them to their family. Do you like tell their partner about that?
So I think that's an individual thing. I personally do not believe you have to air out everything. But if this is a person that you're looking at spending the rest of your life with, I think it's a kind of like, tell me about that. Let me know about this. You know,
Mm-hmm.
do I think
Oh,
that should be like a deal breaker? Everybody has their own thing. I can't say what should be and what shouldn't be a deal breaker. Everybody knows or has an idea of what they can and cannot put up with.
you know what? Ugh. Okay, let's go here. Let's go. We come back. So, how important is premarital counseling?
I think is extremely important. Personally, I believe that everybody who is contemplating getting married, I
Mm-hmm.
think that it is something that they should do. And let me say this, I know a lot of individuals go to pastoral counselors and pastors and ministers for premarital counseling. I believe you need to go to a licensed person who is also going to explore some of those bigger issues that we see in our offices that cause people to get divorces. For example, the way that you chastise children. What type of school is this child going to go to? Are we going to use physical forms of punishment? Are we going to, you know, how are we going to parent together? Is our financial spending habits, all of these different things that tend to be reasons why people come into marital counseling. Those things can be discussed prior to getting married. So if any of the issues need to be discussed openly, guess what? You may be able to discover before you sign on the dotted line, ooh, this might not be for me. I will have to say, in the years that I have been doing premarital counseling, I did have two couples that actually ended up not getting married because of what came out of premarital counseling.
Mm. You telling me people really don't discuss how they gonna whoop their children?
Yeah, because some people don't believe in it. So if I'm the parent and I believe in, corporal punishment and spanking and you don't, and now we are having friction in our relationship because you're telling me don't put your hands on my child, but that's our child, that's a huge issue.
Now I just really found out it's really hard to believe that people don't discuss that.
Not until they get pregnant and have children.
Wow. That's deep. That's really got me thinking. You know what? I had an issue where I'm a Christian, right? And this person was another Scientology or
Scientology.
Yes. And what do you say to people who have two different forms of religion? Do you really think that can work?
So I have seen individuals with very different religious beliefs have successful relationships. I think it's the individual thing for that, or for those individuals in that relationship. Piggybacking off of that, with the current state of society, there have also been individuals in interracial relationships that have had to have those tough conversations. Because when we got together, it wasn't an issue. Love is love. Free love. I love you as a person. But when the issues begin to hit close to home, these might be conversations that we've never had. Maybe your family was able to hide their racist views until I was able to see how they really thought about Blacks in America. Now I'm starting to second guess. Oh my gosh. Like, I never saw this side of you before. I didn't even know that you would say very passive things that you don't even know hurts me, because it's almost like you're dismissing my experience. So yeah, there's a lot of individuals having those, let me take a pause and really figure out how I feel. The topic of race, whether you know it or not, and the experiences are not necessarily really deeply discussed in interracial relationships.
You know, the reason why I guess for me, why I would never date outside my race is because I feel like they don't understand my experiences.
Okay.
I don't see myself date anyone with a European descent.
And there's a lot of people who believe that. And I think that sentiment is probably increasing because of what's happening. But those individuals who are in love, and I'm not talking about the individuals who are in interracial relationships that understand, who sympathize and empathize with what their Black partner might be going through and what they might be feeling, and is compassionate, and who can give an understanding or try to understand what's happening. And even though it may not be directly happening to them, it's kind of like a collective trauma that every time we see someone being killed or an injustice take place, that they are able to, how you dealing with that? Like, that's messed up. I could never understand what you're going through. Just really listening versus being in a interracial relationship where you have one partner who's not Black saying, well, if they would have complied, if they would have done what they needed to do, if they wouldn't have ran from the police, kind of dismissing the entire experience. How do you now, if you have a Black son and you have a partner who's speaking that way, how do you now go lay down with that person when they are totally dismissing you? So that's a tough conversation.
That was really deep. And I have another, like, because there's just so much that I didn't see what people go through, even myself, and then what people, they told me to ask, like, make sure you ask this for me so she can, tell me what's going on. So how important is, for you being a Black therapist, for one, how important is for you to be a public figure as a Black therapist to you?
And so it's so funny that you asked me that, because a lot of times people are like, The girlfriend therapist, where did that come from? It's because I wanted to destigmatize what it meant to go to therapy. Because I wanted my people to understand that this is not just a white thing and what you see on TV. I want you to erase that out of your mind, and I want you to be able to create your own experience of what therapy is for you. So the girlfriend therapist was created so that individuals could view me as the girlfriend or as their girlfriend who just so happens to be a therapist who's going to reflect back to them the truth in a non-judgmental way, who's going to be non-biased, and who's really going to be able to hold you accountable so that you can move forward in your life. So I think it's extremely important that my voice is heard and that I'm a huge advocate for emotional wellness and mental health in the Black community.
I love that. That's because for one, I truly feel like, and I can only see what's around me. In my household, you weren't allowed to share, anything outside the house. And when I got to understand, as I got older, what my mom's side went through, I could see why that was a rule. And versus on my daddy's side, you can go talk what you want to talk about, but they didn't go to therapy. And then as a child, you grow up, you thinking you're a crazy person or it's frowned upon because you want to go seek help. Because for me, I noticed when I was in relationships, I grew up in a household where you yelled. If you didn't talk loud or you didn't really heighten up your feelings, you don't really care. And so when I was, talking, I get really, really passionate. And I date someone who complete was shut down if I even went over a level 2 in my voice.
Right.
And I was like, what's wrong with you? Like, why are you not talking to me? Like, I'm trying to have a conversation. You just like I'm looking at you crazy. At the same time, and we went to go see a therapist. It was like, you know what? Y'all were just raised 2 different households. And y'all can effectively communicate. And I feel like it's a lot of things that goes on in Black household that we just really don't understand until we go see a therapist. So what is one of the craziest stories you ever had? Like this ever, like you was like, this is some ish.
The craziest story I ever had. Craziest story. I really don't know. I mean, so let me just say this. Where I am now is very different than where I was when I started my private practice in 2014 because I had 0 Black patients when I first started.
Really?
And now, all Caucasian. And so now 2020, 95% of my, well, let me say 90% of my patients are Black, and I don't take insurance, so I'm private pay. So 90% of my clientele or my patients are Black. And so I really work on celebrating my patients because I want them to know that I see your wins and I want you to see them too. Maybe I shared this story the other day. I had one patient who, when I worked inside of a substance abuse treatment facility, I was the clinical director, and I went to go meet the driver because it was a male driver. And so we wanted to make sure that there was a female present. And so I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter. I don't have to send anybody else. I'll go myself. So 2:00 in the morning, meeting a patient at the bus station because she was coming from out of town so that we can take her to where she needed to go. Well, she looked at me. Now, mind you, it's 2:00 in the morning. And she was like, you're the clinical director? You don't look like the clinical director. Now, this is a Caucasian girl. So she's making this huge scene in the middle of the bus station. And I'm embarrassed. I'm like, oh my God. She was like, I don't know, you might try to kidnap me. I was like, okay, I'm not going to kidnap you. I promise you, I'm the clinical director. We just want to get you to where you need to go. So that was probably one of the craziest situations that I'd been in with a patient where she thought I was trying to kidnap her. And she told me I was unprofessional. She totally cussed me out in the middle of the bus station and made this huge scene. But I would have to say, once she was able to know that people really cared for her, she began to care for herself, and she was able to get clean and stay clean.
That's a beautiful story. That was
Yeah.
beautiful.
But it was crazy.
I just feel like, okay, now, all this sex trafficking stuff going on. You think I'm trying to
Right.
get
I'm
you?
like, why are you saying I'm trying to kidnap you at this bus? Like, that is embarrassing. I don't want the police come. Oh my gosh, it was a long night. Let me just say that. It was a very long night.
So, do you have a therapist?
Absolutely.
So, why do you think it's important for a therapist to have a therapist?
Because there's no way that you can hear all of some of the trauma and stuff consistently. Yes, I have ways that I decompress, but I think it's important for everybody to have a therapist. And I think I like to use this analogy. So when I go to the gym, which I don't go frequently, I see everybody in there and they look like they don't even need to be in the gym. They're fit. I'm like, okay. But you have to remember they're going to maintain their fitness. The same thing with emotional wellness. I may be emotionally well, but if I want to maintain my emotional wellness, I need to continue to stay connected with someone who can help sharpen me, who I can, vent to, who I can process things with. So I tell people, just because you go see a therapist, that doesn't mean that you're crazy or that something is, oh my God, so totally wrong with you. Well, people also see therapists for maintenance to make sure that, you know what, let me talk to somebody so that I can make sure I stay sane myself, so that I can make sure that I am really getting through some of the things that might be bothering me that I'm not aware of.
Have you ever had to turn away a patient where you feel like there was not like doing a treatment plan that you gave them?
Yeah, I fired a patient before. Absolutely. I hold my patients accountable. And I don't believe in wasting time or money. So if you're just coming to me and paying me and nothing is happening and we're going around the mulberry bush, I will give you referrals to say, you know what, this is not working. First, I would challenge them to see, okay, what's happening in this process? What's the barrier preventing you from being able to do what you said you wanted to do? So we made this plan together and you are not able and you're not holding yourself accountable. And it's my job to hold you accountable. So what's the barrier preventing you from being able to do what you need to do? Then if we still don't get anywhere, yes, I will terminate treatment. Mm-hmm.
That's good because, I have a friend, not let's say business, but they be on this treatment plan because we all went for the same, we kind of all share the same kind of issues. And we all say, we're going to go to therapy and go get it, And I'm just like, dang, your treatment plan going on 3 years. Is that common?
It depends. I've had patients in therapy for years, but the issues change. So maybe they start seeing me for one reason. They get better. So let's just say they start seeing me once a week. Then they go to every other week. Then they go to once a month. Then something happens in their life and they're back to seeing me every week. So it like ebbs and flows. It really just depends on the patient and the issue that they are bringing up during that time. So we talk about it together. And we make sure that it's a feasible plan that they can adhere to. I don't believe that therapy should be a burden. So there are some therapists that if you don't see them once a week, they won't see you. Well, I'm not the purse watcher for anyone. So I can't tell you, I want you to pay me $150 a week because those are my rates for a 45-minute session. If you can't afford that, you're not going to come and you're not going to be compliant and you're going to terminate yourself. So I would much rather meet them in the middle and say, okay, this is my recommendation. Based on my recommendations, what can you realistically do without putting additional stress on yourself?
So how do you deal with sexual addiction when patients who are in relationship and their partners is constantly cheating on them and they claim it's not like I don't love them, it's just for the satisfaction of like sex?
So I think that's a deeper issue. I believe that there are a lot of individuals that use sex addiction as a scapegoat because in sex addiction, if it's not interfering with your daily personal life, if it's not causing you, if you can just turn it on and turn it off, it's not a sex addiction because an addiction is compulsive. It's impulsive. You cannot control it. So you're going to be thinking about it. You're going to be thinking about, okay, well, how can I leave my job early so I can go get it? How can I maneuver? Because that's what an addiction does. If you're just having sex and you want to use that as an excuse, you really have to get down to what's the real issue. Is it a commitment issue? Is it an issue where it comes to you're not being satisfied? So we really have to have a deeper conversation before we can just put a label on it that this is a sex addiction.
You know what? You open my eyes and stuff. Because you know how you just hear stuff, you like, it makes sense. And you guys, this is why it's so important to have a therapist so people won't be playing you. Because people try to play you, they're like, it's not what it is.
Yeah. Like you're saying, like, oh my God, I have a problem. Well, can you go to work? And do you think about sex when you're at work? No. So how is it an addiction? So it's just an addiction when it's convenient. That's not how addictions work. And the thing is, so let's just say someone who's addicted to porn, right? They watch it on their phone. It's like they're always trying to see how they can access pornography. Now, if they're addicted to masturbating, but porn is just the portal that helps them get to masturbating. Okay, how often do you masturbate? Do you masturbate to completion? Like once you're masturbating, do you actually complete and ejaculate? So when we're really figuring out where the issue lies, you have to really do a good sexual assessment so that we can figure out what the real issue is.
Wow. Just all I can say is wow. So what do you recommend for people who have partners that one partner want to go therapy, but the other one does not? Where's the middle ground for that?
Begin to have the conversation. What's your fear about going to therapy? What's the worst that can happen? The relationship ends. If we both love each other and we're both committed to making it work, we will make sure that we do what we need to do to make this relationship successful. If you're not willing to help make the relationship successful, how important is it to you?
That is so for all you people who had these questions. So do you do virtual sessions as well?
I do. I was actually doing virtual sessions since 2017. So pre-COVID, I already had a platform where I was seeing patients in person and virtually. So yeah, when COVID hit, it didn't really change anything for me because I was already doing it.
So that's wonderful. And so I have one final question for you because somebody, DM me this question as well.
Oh goodness.
So the reason why this person didn't want to go there because they felt like that they could tell the therapist something that you cannot tell the husband or the wife. Have you found a lot of issues with that going on?
So when I do couples therapy, this is what I do. The first meeting is with the couple, both partners. The second and third meeting is with each partner individually. The fourth meeting is with us back together, and then we see each together for subsequent sessions. From the beginning, I'm very open. I say, I am not the secret keeper. If something comes up, the people in the relationship are not my patients. The relationship is my patient. So I have no alliances to anybody. My alliance is with the relationship. How can we have a successful relationship with secrets? So in that individual session that I have with one of the partners, I Because let me say this, I say that from the beginning. I'm not the secret keeper. So if you tell me something, it's going to be shared openly when we come back together. I say that so that they have a clear understanding and expectation for what happens. Now, it's different if, let's just say, you're my patient, you were my patient, and we just have like a family therapy session. What happens in our session, because the relationship at this time is not my patient, you are my patient, you were first my established patient. What we talk about is confidential. Whatever comes, when we have that one family session, I'm not going to say what we talked about because the family is not my patient. You are my patient. See, that's the difference.
See, you guys, so stop being scared and stop trying to act like you don't need help. I really like what you said earlier about the gym. Because, I'm in a gym probably Monday through Friday.
Oh, my gosh.
I be seeing people, and I be like, why are they always here? And you made it make sense. You say, you know what, you're maintaining. You know where you are, but you're maintaining your
right.
Like you maintain your mental, level.
Absolutely.
And I just want to say thank you for saying it, because I just learned something. Because I have not seen my therapist probably like 3 months. So I felt like I didn't need to go anymore. Mm-hmm. But I probably should at least go about 5 times a year now. Just to check in.
Checking it. Mm-hmm. Even if you go once a quarter, that's every 3 months. That's 4 times a year.
But this
like a spring checkup, winter, fall, and summer. Every season, get a checkup.
I like that. Now, this is the time we have the guest spotlight, which is all about you. You can tell the wonderful viewers what you have going on. How can they book sessions with you? Because I might be signing up. Because you're very personable, and I like that. I like when I can, like, just because you're Black, some people I just like, I don't even like them at all. You have a very relatable spirit.
Yes,
so, and you're welcome. So
thank you.
How can they book you and all this wonderful stuff you have going on?
So you can actually book a session with me through my website, iamcortinapeters.com. So that's I am Cortina, Cortina Peters, Peters.com. So you can book a session through me that way, and you can connect with me. You can also stay connected with me on social media platforms at The Girlfriend Therapist for Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I'm more active on Facebook and Instagram. And I also have a Girlfriend Heal workshop coming up. So starting November 4th, it's 6 weeks. You can either come to one session or you can come to all the sessions, where we're going to be talking about learning how to heal. So that's my latest book that I'm working on, Girlfriend Heal. And it's for individuals who have gone through things, breakups, relationships, infertility issues, grief, loss, anything that you feel you need to heal from, broken relationships with parents or children or friendships, whatever it is, anything you feel like you need to heal, that's what we're going to be working on in healing, and how to develop a tribe that's also healing. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can go again to my website and go to events, and it'll tell you all about how you can get connected with that workshop.
Well, I just want to say you have really blessed my soul tonight, and I hope when people watch this, it's okay to say you need help.
Absolutely.
And I really want Black people, because I'm Black, I'm speaking what I know. I really want Black people to realize that a therapist is your friend. It's not you. They're not your enemy. They're not here to beat you over the head. They're not trying to cheat you out of anything. It's okay. And I really feel like you helped a lot of people tonight. And when people see this in the future, you're going to help a lot of people, because, like, I try to ask questions that people want to know.
Yeah.
And I feel like you effectively broke that down. And so for my followers and for my viewers, I want to say thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. That's my goal. And I believe that when you do what you have been called to do, it shows in your ability to connect with others. I I want to see everybody who comes through my office and virtually, I want to see them win. I want to make sure, because I don't call my therapy sessions, I call them couch conversations, because that's what they are. Couch conversations with the girlfriend therapist. So I want you to feel comfortable, because the more comfortable you are with me, the more vulnerable you're going to be, the more open you're going to be. And the more vulnerable and open you are, the more healing and growth can take place in your life.
There you go. Well, you guys, this has come to an end. If you want some more, book her. She don't work for free. Okay, guys, so next time, see you next Tuesday. Well, let's chat with Rodney.